Okay, so I promised I would do a follow-up video today because yesterday was the opening day and opening week, or the start of the day of yesterday. Whenever I did a video, it was the start of the week and the start of the new day. So I said we could potentially get a pullback to 57 to 56K, somewhere around that area, and we should find support. We did go a little bit lower today, so there was some FUD that came out. It was like for the 10th time, India is banning Bitcoin. It's just a proposed bill. There isn't actually a distinct ban on on Bitcoin. Let's see, India to ban Bitcoin again. So here's an article that came out today. Today is the 15th. So you can read through it. BTC Times is a great place to get actual Bitcoin news. That's all they do is focus on Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining and stuff like that. So again, for I don't know the whatever umpteenth time, India came out and banned Bitcoin again. So if you're new to the space, the market could have got scared off by this news. Some initial selling. We were already on a 9 on the daily anyway. So some people will kind of rationalize the pullback because India's banning Bitcoin and there's additional FUD and more countries can start to ban it and stuff like that. But I mean, we were already on an exhaustion area. Maybe it got a little bit accelerated by news. I usually don't trade off news. One thing to remember with news is that if the overall trend is up, new and you get bad news, you get some FUD. The news really only affects price for a few days tops. 2 to 3 days, and then if the overall trend is up, it will go up. It will continue up. And it's the same thing for the opposite. So if the overall trend for a asset is down and there's some good news that comes out, that news, you know, could only affect for 2 to 3 days if the overall trend is down. Now, if it's some big news, if there's like a buyout or something like that, then it could be maybe there's a little bit different effects. But generally, what I've learned is that news only affects price if the overall trend was already in one direction. It only affects price for a few days or a couple of days. So maybe we had an exhaustion area. Maybe this India ban gets another. We'll get a new day in another hour. So that'd be one. If prices closes below 57.2, then that would be a red 2. Maybe we come down here and retest this 52 area. I mean, that's a pretty big drop, right? What would that be in percentage? So if we went to 52 area, that'd be 15% around. So that's in that range of 15 to 25%. We just got a pullback, about a week and a half ago. So is it common to get a pullback that deep right now? We did have some indicators that were kind of oversold or overbought. I'm sorry, and it was trending down. I did say I wanted that CMF to come up. We are getting a pullback of the RSI on the weekly. We were on a 6, right? So if I come back to this TD sequential and we're on this was a 6. We had a 6. This would have been a 7. If this turns out to be a 1, like we get a week of some negative price like 4%, 5% from the open to the close, that kind of resets the count. If this trends down and we just consolidate, which is something I would really like to see. I would really like to see consolidation for a month. That'd be awesome. Like 4 weeks, 5 weeks. That still doesn't negate. Let's see if we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that would kind of. I did put out a video yesterday that 80K sometime in the month of April. We'll see. I mean, that's a generalized price prediction, but I would take consolidation. I would really take consolidation for like 7 or 8 weeks, and then we go higher. That price prediction was really based off of those Mayer multiple bands and then how they've acted historically. I'll pull those up real quick. I'm gonna get those on my chart so I don't have to keep on moving back and forth. Eventually, I just need to sit down and work on it. But so right here we distinctively broke. That was February 17th, so 60 days. So April, very possible because here we pulled back, and then I was like, oh man, 60K based off of this might not happen. and yeah, I missed it by a couple of days, but we pretty much got there within 2 months. So yeah, we could April, mid-April, we could pull back here and then go up to 60, go up to, what was it, 80K I said, because I went off of this price really here because I wanted to be conservative and not so aggressive. Definitely possible. So we'll see how that goes. Right now we are getting a little bit of a pullback. I'm not going to spend too much time on Bitcoin. We have the 1 to 4 candle correction. I did say right here, right around 56, 57 would potentially be some support area. And that was based off of the way you use this TD sequential. So that would have been, the close was here, and then you would have count 1, say 2, and then 3, 4. So somewhere around, I did say 57, 56 area. We did go lower. You can see that these wicks down here, there was support found, and that could, let's pull up the Ichimoku, because the Ichimoku is actually really good at showing areas of support whenever price is coming down. Oh man, this still hasn't updated. I was working on updating this, and I didn't do it, but I will do it. I guess I'll just have to do it right now. You can kind of see how I set these, but I will have code written for it, so I don't have to keep on doing it. And these are just crypto settings. Where they originated from, I actually haven't looked, but they're settings that people have used, I mean, ever since I could remember, maybe 2017, 2018, as far as the parameters set for the Ichimoku cloud for crypto. But I've actually used it for other assets. I've used it in the stock market and in equities. So yeah, so where are we at right here? This is like 52, 53 area. This one we broke down below it, but there's a setup trend right here, and we're finding support at the setup trend. So that's actually very good. And why did I not notice that whenever I had my other TD sequential in there? Yeah, well, I should have. So right there, we're finding support at the setup trend, and because that's based off of this one. So if price can come here, find support, which it looks like it is, this is actually very good. So what am I looking for? We're below the 4-hour. I did say, on the 30 MA on the hourly, you could have taken profit, say here, if you would have waited one candle, and you would be definitely buying Bitcoin at a lower price. You would have taken some profits. The return would have been, if you would have waited one candle right here, I mean 5% in a day. That's not horrible, but that would have been your return. You'd be down. I mean, you would have exited. You'd be waiting for it to cross here. You'd be entering lower unless we get a massive price spike. But if price moves, not moderately aggressive or smooth up, you'd be getting more Bitcoin, which is always the goal. You could have also had another opportunity here because we do know the 30 MA on the 4-hour provides a good area that once it closes below it, we go lower. You could have exited here. If you would have waited one, you'd be kind of where the exit was. But we're finding support at the setup trend, which is very good, actually. So let's pull up we do know that the RSI is already trending down. So, but we're finding support. We were overbought. The way the RSI is, usually finds support if it drops down in the 40 to 50 range. We are in the 40 to 50 range. All this based off of the 4-hour. CMF really hasn't collapsed down. I would say we would get lower prices if we start to get to this 0 area where this zeroes out, and then significant pullback, or much more of a pullback if we break below it. Let's look on the hourly to see if we're getting some. We're getting some CMF. So we're getting some bullish divergence here on the CMF with price. So indicators going up, and we're getting a flat. We're getting flat price. So that's bullish divergence. Let's see if we're getting the same thing for the RSI. I believe we are. So yeah, so we're getting indicator trending up with price going flat. So that's bullish divergence. We're not getting any sort of, I mean, there's some divergence here on the bottom with the indicator that would also indicate what's called hidden bullish divergence, which basically just says that we're just going to have continuation of the trend. So this is actually good. Let's look at the on balance volume, and if we're getting that there, then that should also say that we're probably going to get a little bit of a price rally, and we are. So uptrending indicator, flat price, that's good. Let's look at our something to even top it off. Let's look at our funding rate. Our funding rate is negative, so that's good. On the 4-hour where we notice this, the funding rate is pretty much flat to negative. So the market was net long. Now it's going net short. If the daily would be the topper, right? It's starting to trend down. Not quite negative yet. Maybe it goes negative tomorrow to flat, which would be good. Weekly, it's probably still net positive. It is, but it's decreasing. So, man, this could be a good time for some consolidation. You can see here we had the pullback, we consolidated, we had a pullback, we consolidated, and when we could go higher. So, if this week, I mean, I wouldn't be all that upset if this week bounces. We had the Fibonacci, right, that I showed yesterday, and I said that we could potentially be trending sideways between the Fibonacci retracement. Man, which one did I have? Here we go. So it was this one. We could be trending between the 51 and the 61. I would rather stay between like 56 and 61. So yeah, so this is actually not as bad as I thought. It was setting up. Our daily still 1 to 4 candle correction. This could be the one, and we could be going higher. Like I said, the indicator was trending. We're getting some support. The SAR, I don't think we broke yet, not yet, and on the weekly, we're not even close to it. But if we did dip there, I would assume that it's going to be very quickly, and then that would be by the dip if there would be some sort of crazy price fall for some reason. We can look at the Bollinger Bands. John Bollinger actually posted something on Twitter today, and I believe it was on the daily that he had marked that there was 4. Well, we can just go look. I usually don't like to show other people's TA, but I mean, come on, it's the guy who created the indicator. Oh, I have a notification, but I won't look at that right now. Where are we at? John Bollinger. What did he post? So he had shared a trade. We'll actually go to it. He had shared a trading view chart saying that there was 2 reversals at the upper and lower Bollinger Bands, and are really worth paying attention to. I marked 6 on this chart. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, I haven't actually sat through a full, seminar that he has put on yet. There's a couple. There was one that he did recently, and I actually started it, but I didn't finish it. But yeah, so he's indicating that there was some reversals here on the upper bands, and maybe that this is a reversal. This is on the daily, so that is quite possible. But I mean, I would generally say, well, what happens here whenever it consistently hits this upper Bollinger Band? And from what I understand is, if it holds this upper band, this is just an area where you're getting consolidation. And I do know that he uses the Bollinger Band with volume, which is why he probably has this volume displays at the bottom. But I didn't get that far into the seminar to really know. I just really use it to kind of see. I do know the basics of it, that if we're outside of it, that's extremely overbought. If it's up on the upper trend and it continues to hold, that's bullish because you're getting follow through. But then, eventually it kind of breaks down, because here's the same thing. You're getting follow through and then kind of reaches the top. So it's not the base of my trading. I know he has a method and a strategy with it. I mean, he created it and he trades it. He knows it better than anybody. So yeah, he marked those. Yeah, we got there. We hit the 9. Maybe that's just an indicator enforcing that the TD9 is my base. That there's high probability of reversal, and you would have seen that also just basically with the CMF and with an RSI on there, because you had divergence in it. So there are other things you could definitely use. But as far as Bollinger Band goes, we're getting some. It's kind of compressing, which is good. So that's about it. I think I'm not going to go over anything else. 1 to 4 candle correction. I said we're getting support here at the setup trend. If that starts to break, say we get a lower low between something below 54.5, we get a close there below 54.5. I would say that this is kind of free air, and we're going to get to this lower area, and it's going to probably happen quickly. We'll probably get a 10% drop quickly. But the market looked fine today, and I don't say that this is any particular FUD to be extremely worried about. I did say we would probably find support somewhere here between 56, 57. We're pretty much there. I don't see any massive sell-off. The CMF is already starting to trend up, which is good. There's not breakdown or failure in it. because if there was, then that would indicate there's no buyers. There's just selling and it's compounding, and then eventually it's going to fall. So, but let's look at something else. TLRY took off today, doing great there. I am going to go over a position that I entered last week, but then that I exit today, and that was on Drive Shack, that competitor to Topgolf. So that's the thing about trading. Like, and I kind of really learned. You'll get a lot of kind of. You'll get a lot of what do they call them? I'm drawing a blank. I'm on Twitter all the time, and you'll get a lot of trolls coming in and saying, "Oh, you said this, and now it's doing this." But what I say here, that projection is good for there. I say it all the time. Trading's dynamic. It's not static. I read the price, and I'm reading, as these candles are forming to determine what I want to do with my trade. This looks great. We're getting good momentum with TLRY. All the indicators are trending up. We're really not oversold. I mean, overbought on really anything. We're getting. We just broke out on the weekly, which means, once we get in this area, we're in overbought. But as price is moving up, we're getting good momentum. We're taking out all these previous highs. I mean, this next one's 34. We're at 30. If we break through here, we're going to take a run at this 36.40. That could happen all within this week, possibly by next week. So, I mean, the run up could be, even if you got in today, the run up could still be another 30%. If you would have got in at the 1941 where I'd set some buys, you'd be up a good amount, depending on what you entered in. If you would have waited here once it crossed the 30 MA, you'd still be up, 30%, all within 6 days, a week. Got in at the 19, you'd be up even better. Let's take it from here. Maybe not quite 19, say 20 something. Used to be up 50%. 50% since the 5th. It's been 10 days, right? It'll be 11 days tomorrow. That's just days. That's not even trading days. So it's less trading days. That's great returns, 50%. So just, we're not really overbought. We're not getting much divergence. If anything, we're getting good momentum up, especially on the daily. Everything's starting to trend up. RSI as well. We're in an overbought area for the RSI, but whenever it gets in this in this area, it's kind of acting more as a momentum indicator, and we have good momentum with our moving averages going up. I'll pull up the CMF to see what we're seeing here. We're getting good trend up. It's not caving. Look at this. That's huge. That's buying coming in, and the volume should enforce that. Kind of mellowed off a little bit, but on the daily it was tremendous, and on the hourly it's still trending up. We get consolidation. Look, we got a 9. We get consolidation, 1 to 4 candle correction or consolidation. The consolidation around the 9 is great. If we come up to 3160, maybe we consolidate here for a couple days. As long as the CMF keeps on going up, that's good. We're getting more and more buyers. People are stacking more and more into this asset. On balance volume should kind of correlate the same thing. And it is. It started to trend down a little bit, but that's because we got some sell-off. I will pull it up on the daily. Daily's flat, but it's trending up. And the weekly should be also the same. We're trending up. So this is all good movement. If price really starts to break down, we would maybe start to be cautious if it got here to this. I mean, that's really not a big price move. I would say if it reverses this whole candle, if we get back down to like 27, that would be a little, maybe being a little cautious. But where could this potentially go as far as a pullback? We'll just use our standard, 1, 2, we'll use this candle, 3, 4. So somewhere right here, somewhere around 29.50. I would say our hour's at 26.88, so we could really take a exit here. We would give back, quite a bit. We'd give up 11% about, or 10%, but we would still keep about 15%. But overall, I'm relatively bullish on this. I do think it's going to go higher. I do think that more act is going to pass. Let's look at the volume real quick. Volumes was good. I wish it would have been a little bit higher. Yeah, so that's good. That's all green candles. We're going up. We're trending up. Weekly, that's probably going to, could be better. But it's more than the past couple of weeks. This was a sell-off, but it's getting there. It's getting there. CMF looks good. So that's Tilray, but I want to go over Drive Shack real quick. So here's what I saw, and it's basically just all TD sequential. So we entered. I said on the CMF trending up on the 4-hour, and we saw that, and that entry date. Let me look at real quick. I have it written down so I can make sure I tell you the right date. So the entry date was the 12th, right here. And that was right when the market opened. Oh man, this thing still went back to UTC. I did this last time. Let me save that. Okay. It was definitely the hourly. Was it? I thought it was a 4-hour, I mean. I entered right here. But that's what it was. It was flat price with a trending CMF. Pretty sure that's what I said. Right? So price was flat, relatively flat, and you had a trending CMF, which meant you had a lot of buyers coming in. And I basically said I saw it on Zero Hedge. It got some publicity, and we were in a channel, and we were close to this 9, and we hadn't retested it. And that, at the bare minimum, I think it was going to be something like a potentially, what was it, a 5% trade or something like that? It was like 8% trade or 5% trade, and I said that was good for a day, depending on your position. I mean, that's a good return. We went higher, but yeah. So we what I looked at today was we got a 9 early in the morning, and this is when I sold. And when I looked back, I was like, well, how likely does this thing pull back whenever we hit 9? 9 went sideways, pulled back. There was a 9, pulled back. There was another 9, and it pulled back. So I went back, not many, but I saw the 9 and it pulls back. And then there's another 9 and it pulls back. 9 and it pulls back. It's like every 9 that I saw, 9 sideways, a little bit higher, pulled back. 9 pulled back. So you can kind of see all the way back to, what's this one? April 17, 2019. 9 pulled back and then it went up, right? But we would have to analyze it. So the first one where it's kind of an oddity, where it didn't really pull back and give you a good opportunity to buy, possibly and re-enter, was right here. It went back up within, a couple of days, and then, but we would have had to look at it maybe on the hourly to re-enter. But right now, we're on a 9. We'll see if it goes higher. We'll see if it pulls back, right? Maybe it finds support right here at 290. If it finds support here at 290, and all of our other indicators are indicating that there's an entry there, I'm going to take it because that's support. See, this is starting to trend down. I think the hourly actually broke. Yep, see? So it broke here. There's a 9 right here. I usually don't mark them, but it can go down to 380, 308. That breaks down. Probably 290 is likely. So I exited, took my profit. When did I get in? I got in at 2 something. It was definitely, it was something like a 17% return. 270. We can just go 273, right? So I got out right when this close was. Yeah, it was like 17%, 17.5, something like that. So all that within, how many trading days? It was on the 12th. So within one trading day, right, the weekend, made 17%. So that was a great return. I exited. We'll see what happens. Looks like tomorrow post market it was flat. Don't trust pre or post market prices. The market itself, the futures were, I think they were up. They're down a little bit by 0.3. That I'm not going to say that's going to hold, but just as of right now, that's what they are. So we'll see. I'm okay with waiting. I'm okay with waiting until we potentially see if there's support here, or if it goes back down and retests the bottom of this channel, and if it gives out. I'm okay with waiting until it gets to the top of this channel, and then it breaks out of that channel, because that reduces my risk, right? I have a pattern that I'm familiar with, and it gives me a target, and I can take that trade comfortably, right? Knowing that I paid a good price for it, and that I have a target to exit. So that could go to 458, and if I wait until we get a candle closing above this, above a green number above a prior green number, potentially above this 9, that would be perfect. I'm gonna make potentially 35% on the rally. Just being patient. I already made 17. I can be patient, let this go, have some price discovery, and then either break up or break down. I don't have to be married to my trades, right? Take profits when you can. There's nothing wrong with taking profit, you know, and making a good return. That was a good return. So, any other stocks or anything you want me to look at in the comments, leave them in the comments. And thanks for watching.